What's up, guys? So in this video I wanted to talk about two things that are very closely related, and it's self-productivity versus team productivity and why one is infinitely harder to do. If you haven't met me before, my name is Bengreen. I'm the owner of optimizeis, and what we do is we help business owners, maybe just like you, help them optimize their information systems. So whether that's Slack, Airtable, Asana, stuff like project management, CRM, or just asset management, that's what we help with. So I'm sitting here, I just got done working out at Planet Fitness, and I'm here waiting for my truck to pull up. This might be what you hear in the background. But what I wanted to talk about was self-productivity versus team productivity, and why team productivity is infinitely harder. And you might be like, Ben, this is such an obvious question and answer. Like, obviously team productivity is going to be a lot harder, but not everybody gets it. And I think to really understand this, you have to think about, like, imagine if it's just me and I'm trying to scale my business and I want to scale my processes, but I want a really optimized process. And if you are familiar with Rory Vaden, he had like the Procrastinate Method, where you more or less you eliminate a task, then automate a task, then delegate a task, then procrastinate a task. And I have a similar framework, but before I see automation happen, I think optimization has to happen. And I think that's one of the most crucial steps, because, as I believe Chris Dancy says, automating a bad process just makes a bad process run faster. And I think that's a great point by him. But for self-productivity versus team productivity, if I'm doing one process and I have like a small scale operation, then I can do that one process not very good, but I can do it. Now, if I try to hand it off to someone else, if I try handing off a bad process and then I take on some new processes, then 2 months down the road, my bad habits are still there. I'm still not as productive, and so I don't have a good process. And at that point, okay, I want to scale again. So I hire someone else, and I give them a bad process. So now I have me with bad productivity, and I just delegated a poorly ran process. And so that's what I'm trying to get at, is it's up to you, the person scaling, the person writing these processes, on making these processes so you can efficiently scale them, making them optimized, running through them before handing them off, optimizing them, then automating them, then delegating them, rather than sometimes just delegating, or sometimes just automating and delegating. And I think that's really important, because if you do that, if you optimize a process, you make it as efficient as possible with no automation, and then you go and automate the process, it's going to be a very efficient process. It might be a process that would have, in the prior example, taken you 3 hours to do. Now it takes someone 30 minutes, and you can just hand that off to them. So now, instead of you running your day poorly for 8 hours a day and you handing off a process that takes someone 3 hours, you can just, instead of hiring 2 people, just hire one person, and instead of them working for 6 hours, they only work for 1 hour. So that's really the real benefit of optimizing, then automating, then delegating, if you can't eliminate the process in the first place. So I really just wanted to hint on that, because you're going to be saving a lot of time in your business if you optimize your processes. And when you optimize your processes, one of the biggest things that people miss with their processes is the link between your process and the information in your database. And a lot of people, they're like, I want to have this really fancy database and it's going to have all my stuff here. But that's not the point of the point of the database is to have information easily flow in and easily flow out of the database. It's not for if it looks cool, Airtable provides a good solution for that. If it looks cool, that's awesome. But the ultimate purpose of it is to have a living and breathing, essentially a document, a living and breathing database that moves and it flows with information, and it gets rid of bad information, and it takes care of that so you don't have to. So when you're optimizing your process, you want a process that has a good database behind it. So if it's something that involves Zapier and it involves Airtable, you want to have an optimized Airtable with an optimized database already in it. That way you're not trying to build on top of something that's very unorganized. So it really gets back to that just like exponential time saving, exponential team productivity, because as you keep adding more people, they're not just going to automatically fix stuff. They're going to take your bad process and they're going to run with it. So don't do it. Don't make that mistake. Make sure you first eliminate the task if it can be eliminated, optimize the task, then automate, then delegate. And then if it's to that point where only you can do it, you don't want to do it, then procrastinate, as Rory Vaden would say. Thank you for watching, and go watch the next video. If you're curious about more systems help, it's from this end screen right here. Go click on it. I think you'd really enjoy it.